Hello, everybody. Today I'm talking about exploring the Sattva of Jupiter. This is part of my ongoing commitment to all of you that I am going to share as many as of my lectures that I have done for various organizations. And last year I did a very good lecture on Jupiter and Sattva. And Jupiter is the planet in our chart that deals with sattva or purity. And this lecture was at the Shivananda, Los Angeles. Of course, everything is online these days, so I did it online and therefore I have the recording. So there are three gunas. Gunas are good qualities within us, and there is Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. And Sattva is the quality of purity. And this is the quality that all of us must aspire towards. And Jupiter is a Satwik planet. This is what sage Maharishi Parashar says. And so I talked about this and all the different attributes of Jupiter in this talk. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, I'm Komilla Sutton and I'm talking about exploring the Sattva of Jupiter. Do remember to subscribe, press the bell notification. So, Guru, the great divine teacher, Jupiter, he is taking us towards sattvic qualities, towards pure qualities. But these pure qualities don't come easy for us. We do have to work with them. We have to protect our purity. And so this talk is about understanding the sattva of Jupiter and then also learning how to protect it.
Start. So I think most people are familiar with you, Komilla. This is Komilla Sutton, and she's been a long time friend of the Shivananda organization and has given a series of talks for us over the pandemic. We're so grateful. People were very happy. And Komilla travels a lot and teaches a lot. Many of the Shivananda teachers and even Swamis have studied with her or are studying with her. And we're just so grateful for your take on these beautiful Jyotish teachings. So if you want
Thank you.
more, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. It's always a pleasure to teach, and I am, honored to be able to teach everybody. And today our topic is seeking purity and sattva of Jupiter. And this is a photograph of a Jupiter temple in Jaipur in India. And just on a word of traveling, I haven't traveled at all. It is something so rare. We have, I think, have to rethink our lives with the whole COVID situation. And Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Dhyanamoolam Gurur Murti Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Mokshamulam Gurur Kripa Om Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budhaya Cha Guru Shukra Shanibhyascha Rahuve Ketave Namaha Om Japa Kusum Sankasham Kashyapeyam Mahadvitim Tamorim Sarva Papagnam Pranato asmi Devakaram. So just also going to chant the mantra for Jupiter. Om Devanam Cha Rishinam Cha Gurum Kanchan Sannibham Buddhi Bhutam Trilokesham Tam Namami Brihaspatim. So these are various photographs of Brihaspati. This one is taken at the Ganesha temple in Sacramento. They did a special puja the day Brihaspati changed signs. So it's a really nice puja for him. And here's another picture. Usually you see Brihaspati with an elephant. That is how you, mainly all deities look alike. So you recognize by which animal they are with. That's an easy way to recognize them. So we are talking about seeking purity and sattva of Jupiter. And and this is another picture of Jupiter Brihaspati. And this is from the British Museum. If you go to the British Museum, actually at the back end of British Museum, they have all the Navagraha. And one way to recognize Brihaspati is that he's a little bit got a stomach on him. Always Jupiter's described as fat, little bit fat and with a stomach. All the other deities have totally flat stomachs, but he has this. I think it's because he's always sitting and giving advice. And you can see he has a pot of nectar in one hand and the mala in the other hand. And the deity for Jupiter is Brahma. However, Brahma is not worshipped. So usually for Jupiter, you worship Lord Shiva. And Jupiter, the Guru. Guru means one who gives light. He represents expansion, happiness, higher knowledge, and he's the most benefic planet in the zodiac. Therefore, it always gives a lot. It is a spiritual planet who gives material benefits to his devotees, makes condition comfortable for those on a righteous path by removing obstacles. So what Jupiter does actually is that he gives you a comfortable life so that you can think about the divine. You know, if you're all the time stressed, you can't do that. But it's I would say there's some condition to it that you do the good work because you are comfortably off before, because you have material benefits. You make those benefits to spread the benefits for others. Jupiter represents positive fruits of past karma, which bring forth conditions in this life of affluence, comfort, and happiness. You see, sometimes you are just born to those, to privilege, but the privilege, as I said, comes with responsibility as well. Just because you're wealthy and privileged. Sometimes, you see in politics also, they say, why should we share with those who don't have it? And that is really the wrong attitude. The attitude is because you have, you must share. And that is really what Jupiter gives you the fruits, but also that you should be thinking about sharing that with others. It doesn't mean you make yourself go broke, but you are giving to others. So Jupiter is known as Brihaspati or Guru. He is Brahmin by caste. Brahmins have knowledge of Brahman, the creator of the universe. They have the duty to guide humanity through their knowledge and highly developed consciousness from the mirage of outer illusion to inner light. Jupiter is wise in the true sense. In Jyotish, we have Mercury, which deals with the intellect, Moon with the mind, but wisdom belongs to Jupiter. So you can see sometimes people are very smart and clever, but you think, are they being wise? You wonder sometimes, was that a wise choice they made? So this aspect is very much indicated. So the importance of Jupiter is that he is Dev Guru. the guru of the gods. In Jyotish, we have two gurus. One is Brihaspati, who's Dev Guru, and that is represented by the planet Jupiter. And we have Shukracharya, who is the guru of the demons. He's called the Asura Guru. But the thing about Brihaspati is being the Dev Guru, the guru of the gods. Gods are good qualities within us. And Jupiter's role is to guide us and help us preserve the good qualities within us. Um, and he's the natural ruler of the he's a ruler of the natural 9th and 12th houses. So 9th house is house of dharma, 12th house is house of moksha. And it is a Satwik planet, and that is really our talk today, our workshop today is about preserving Sattva. And I want to present you that Jupiter is Sattva, and Sattva is purity. So honoring our Jupiter protects Sattva. The guru within us needs to be protected. So not only just the guru, but our gurus as well. We need to nurture them, protect them, honor them. Sometimes you may find that the gurus make some mistake because they are only human. But we have to understand their importance of showing us the light. Sometimes I know myself, sometimes I struggle with things because I'm seeking that higher self. So Sattva is easily polluted, and this is most important thing. This is what Swami Sita, actually I attended one of her classes and she talked about it, and I was so influenced by that point, because we always think about the Sattva, oh, once we get it, it's fine. But that is not true. Sattva gets easily polluted, therefore have to work to keep it pure. And this is where the whole yoga philosophy, all spiritual philosophy of the Vedas comes in. So don't think even if your chart is showing your Satwik chart, then that Sattva will remain. It's just like if you have a white outfit on, that's the quickest to get dirty. So the purity is easily polluted. Or if you have a glass of water, you put a bit of orange juice in it, it becomes orange. So it doesn't remain pure. So you have to keep it pure. So that is most important factor. So the first thing I want to discuss is the gunas, and gunas mean good qualities. In India, they say this person is very guni. That means he's very good person in nature. It is usually referred to the quality of the mind. The 5 elements rise from the guna of tamas and encircle the incarnating soul with their desires and demands. So what happens is that out of these gunas, one of the gunas, tamas, which is regarded as darkness, gives rise to the 5 elements. And therefore, he can encompass us with all kinds of wrong thinking and ideas as well. But we need to understand the gunas. These are the primary energies. So there are 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and the 4th guna is when you can go beyond the gunas. Very few people achieve the 4th guna. I'll talk a bit about this later. That 4th guna is called gunatita, is when you go beyond the gunas and the person is not swayed by the other gunas. Remember, that is important. So first guna that we are talking about, sattva, and sattva is illuminating pure good quality, truth, purity of purpose, self-righteousness, the path towards enlightenment, higher consciousness. They are fearless, generous, self-controlled, tranquil, charitable, generally have an open mind. Sun, moon, and Jupiter are Satwik. So sun and moon are also Satwik, but they are not the gurus. And today our workshop is about Jupiter and the guru. And so we have more than one planet that is Satwik. But sattva has to be nurtured, easily polluted. Good qualities and thinking has to be protected. Now, what happens is so many times people say, okay, compromise a little bit. Why do you have to be so pure? Why do you have to think all, a little bit compromise doesn't hurt anybody. So if you are on the path of sattva, then you have to be careful that are you polluting your thoughts? It's very easy in the world we live in. So it's almost like you have to live in the world right at the same time, protect your sattva. Rajas is the quality of mobility or activity. They have great inner thirst, but they tend to look at the outer world for answers. Their passionate ambition, restless of the soul is reflected in Rajas. Venus, Mercury are Rajas, and the thing about it is that majority of the world is Rajas, I would say 21st century, always seeking something, dissatisfied with what you have, always going here, there, everywhere, whereas the answer may lie within you. And Venus is actually the only planet that is pure Rajas. Mercury is regarded as Rajas generally, but Mercury can be Sattva, Rajas, or Tamas. It can take any of the qualities because it's very easily influenceable. But we are just saying that Mercury, the mind, is restless as well. And Rajas has to be calmed, our restlessness understood. And this is again, all this is Swami Sita's teaching or Shivananda teaching. So the point is this, that Rajas also has a purpose. These gunas, they all have a purpose. So we all have a bit of these within ourselves. And what we are talking about is a prominent guna is what is a prominent guna within us. And then Rajas are restless and insecure. They are active, want recognition, respect, but are never satisfied. They find themselves clinging to pleasant tasks, avoiding the difficult ones. They desire success on a worldly level. They can be fickle, easily distracted, and unsteady. You see, the Satwik people will take on a difficult task because, that is their dharma, that is the karma they have to do. They will equally enjoy the pleasant tasks as well. But the Rajas, they want quick answers, rushing around doing things and restlessness. And Rajas also means Raja, wanting to be the king or be the most important one. Then tamas is dark, restraining quality. Tamasic people are generally sensuous, in love with all the good things in life, which restrain them from higher learning and knowledge. They are materialistic in nature. Maya, the illusionary world of self-gratification and sensuous living, ties them to their desires. Tamasic people have to try very hard to get out of ignorance that surrounds them. They are held down by their own needs, compromise their ideals. Yoga meditation is required to strengthen their inner being if they want to move towards consciousness, higher consciousness. Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu are tamasic. Now, Mars, a lot of people question how come Mars, who's such an active planet, is tamasic? Because his thought process is tamasic. Sun, the difference between Sun and Mars is also a fire planet, but Sun's fire burns pure, whereas Mars fire is always connected to ego and self, whatever it's, what am I doing for myself, and selfishness and all those things. So therefore, even though Mars can be quick in walking or quick in action, there's some aspect of tamas there. So tamas has to be shifted. So what Swamiji said was that we need rajas to shift the tamas. So even though because if tamas, sattva itself is not active, it's just being. I'm sattvik, I'm being there. Whereas rajas has to be, so from tamas, you have to move the tamas to move it into some activity. And then once you've moved into activity, you're doing something about it, then you have to calm yourself and elevate yourself. And generally, the belief is that tamas always falls. So if you start compromising and settling into tamas, then until you go right to the bottom, it becomes like a self aggravating energy. And whereas sattva always rises. So when you're doing sattva, you are lifting yourself higher and higher and improving yourself with the sattvic qualities. So, and as I said, that we as humans, we have all these qualities. And the main thing is this, that we have to preserve the sattva and to uh, I suppose, have percentage wise more sattva in our lives, because some things tamas will be there and rajas will be there. But what we have to do is we have to have a sattvic rajas, sattvic tamas, means that each time we are uplifting that quality in our lives. And maybe, there's something more to learn from the yoga philosophy. And so then the gunatita qualities. So gunatita literally means he who has transcended the three gunas, rajas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So there are people who are beyond the gunas. Very few people are there, but what are the qualities of a gunatita? And this is what I would say all of us are aiming for, not necessarily achieving, but aiming for these qualities. And um, so he is unaffected by the effects of the three gunas, like knowledge, action, delusion. Um, he is equanimous in happiness and even misery. He looks upon a clod of earth, stone, or glass as equal worth, being neither repelled nor tempted by them. If somebody gives you a glass or gives you gold, you think, okay, that's fine, I'm okay. If they just give you some earth and make something out of it, that's also fine. These details are given in Bhagavad Gita. I actually picked them up from Hindupad. There's a website. They had the list of all the gunatitas. And he's not influenced by pleasant and the unpleasant. I find this is quite important, because sometimes, we are so happy to take the pleasant. And when something unhappy happens, like now with our COVID situation, people are struggling and fighting against it and everything. It's a part of our life, and we have to follow the rules and do the correct thing. He's unaltered either by praise or blame. Certainly, a lot of Rajas people, even Tamas, they want praise all the time. And then if some problem happens, then they don't like it. He treats friends and enemy equally based on the merits of the case. He serves God with undeviating love. So, these are highly difficult things to be really possible. But I find that over time, long years of studying yoga philosophy and following some things start coming into you, become like a second nature. But to be truly gunatita, then you're on a different plane of living. And some of the gurus you meet, you find that they are beyond this. But many gurus are also human, so they have to go through the ups and downs. So these qualities is good to keep in mind as something that you are developing towards. So gunatita is not just possible that we can do it ourselves, is achieved through the guidance of the guru. In astrology, that is Jupiter. But there is personal effort too. You have to recognize that there is something beyond the gunas, and you have to have the desire to do this. You have to have this deep desire that I want to purify myself. I want to go beyond that. So but you need that guidance. And also the Jupiter in astrology, you will see a lot of people doing the wrong things, even though Jupiter is there, and, or not necessarily wrong things, but more materialistic things, because the consciousness and awareness is not there. So one of the things that I want you to get aware through this class is that there are things that we are achieving, and we are working with, and astrology is a great tool, because astrology helps us to understand what are we working with, what is there in our chart, what are the issues, and then only then you can know what to improve. There is sometimes such karma gripping that it takes years and years. For other people, it will take few efforts, and they are already there. But you should not despair, and you should think that you want to make the effort. As I said, it's all a journey. If we become Gunatita, you wouldn't be attending this class. So that is important to see. So as far as gunas and gunatita is that the gunas, even the Satwik guna controls us, because there's still not the total clarity. However, the stage of Sattva is important to reach before we can go beyond it to gunatita. So remember that as far as the three gunas are concerned, they are like a plait, they're tied together, but one of them has to be elevated, and one of them is stronger among yourselves. And in astrology, we find that there are many things that are creating situations for sattva, but also creating situations for tamas and rajas. And those are connected to the planets, the dasha you're in, the transits you're experiencing. But mostly there is also connected to your own chart, because your own chart is kind of the template of your karma that is giving you some tools. And those tools that are not there, we have to learn how to create them, and how to, sometimes people have natural talent, but sometimes they work hard and they develop skills for it. So that is what we have to learn, to develop skills for our chart and what to do with it. Anybody has any questions or comments about it? They'd like to say something? You can ask questions also if you want to ask questions. So that is there. Okay, so we are now looking at importance of Jupiter. So one thing that you may have seen is that I've put the color yellow. So yellow is the color for Jupiter. And in all the Shivananda ashram and all that, you see, most of the people who come to do the teacher training or other things, they always wear yellow, because yellow is the color of Guru, Jupiter. So Jayashree's asked, what can one expect during Jupiter Mahadasha? You see, the point that I feel is that Jupiter can give you good stuff, good luck, good opportunities, but he's not going to give you sattva unless you're actually seeking it. You don't just think that Jupiter Dasha comes and we will just become Satwik by nature, because he will give you opportunities and blessings and money and good luck, children, everything. But he is not just going to give you the Sattva. So one has to work towards it, even within Jupiter. And here we see that Jupiter in Jyotish is the Karaka for three areas: Dharma, children, and husband. So Dharma is, the righteous action. And so very often you see people with good Jupiter, they're not doing sattvic work, you know. So I feel there's something that is not totally recognized just through Jyotish, is somebody's own awareness that is recognized through karma and past life issues and things like that. So uh, and then Jupiter is Graha Karaka for the second house, which is wealth, fourth house, Sukha, fifth house, children, seventh house, husband, ninth house, Dharma, and 11th house, profit. So when you're in Jupiter Dasha, you can get all these things, you know. But, the main thing is to think about the ninth house and Dharma. So not everybody thinks about ninth house and dharma. I always think about when I'm going to yoga farm, I think about this, that road is leading you to Reno, which is gambling and all those things. And then some or very few of us divert and take the road to Grass Valley and go to the ashram. And even at the ashram, we are in gold country, you know. And when you're there, you're walking over gold, but not everybody knows how to find the gold. So Jupiter can give you all these things. And sometimes people get attracted to that, and they are only interested in the outer persona. Uh, so even if Jupiter is not a good planet in your chart from the Lagna, due to its Karaka qualities, if in dignity, it brings many blessings. In Jyotish, we always have this, that each Lagna has planets that are good or not so good for it. And but Jupiter, because he is ruling so many of the karakas, house karakas, you know, that he is going to bring its blessings, even if he is not the best planet for you. And then, of course, if we are conscious of this awareness, it can bring us something better. Mm, uh, I think that personally, I found that during Jupiter Dasha, sometimes because he is good planet, he makes us comfortable, you know, accept that this is okay. It doesn't make us struggle and work hard. So sometimes this is a minus point of Jupiter, that we just take things as it is and not struggle to find a higher self. So the dignity of Jupiter in your charts, you have to see that is he placed in good houses, in the Kendras, 1, 4, 7, 10th house, Trikonas, 1, 5, 9, 2nd and 11th house. So these are the houses. Trikonas are 1, 5, 9 or 2nd and 11th. These are the places that Jupiter is in dignity. But I find that it's one has to look beyond the dignity. So one should not worry if your chart Jupiter is not well placed. The idea is that once your awareness comes that you can do something, uh, that is the light that Jupiter brings to you. Strong in exaltation, Mool Trikona, own sign, friend's house, with benefic conjunctions and aspects. uh, uh, if you have Jupiter in the first house, this is a Digbala position. This is one of the best positions you can have of Jupiter if it is in the first house, because the light of Jupiter is shining on you, the brightness is shining on you. So that is a great position to have. Jupiter will be positive in the 12th if in Shubha Kartari Yoga. 12th from the Sun and Moon Yogas, Durudura, Ubhayachari Yoga, or in 6th or 8th house if it is in Adi Yoga. There are certain yogas, and I'm going to talk about yogas today, is that they are create a positive atmosphere, uh, even if they are in the malefic houses, so to say. 6, 8, 12 are regarded as the difficult houses. So some positions of Jupiter will be quite okay. My niece, she has Jupiter in the 12th house, but she has Mercury in the second house. So she gets a Shubha Kartari Yoga. And in Jupiter Dasha, which should have been negative for her, she's only getting positive because it's creating an extra element and protecting her. So these are important things that we have to learn and see what is there. Uh, and positive yogas like Gaja Kesari, Hamsa Mahapurusha Yoga, Saraswati Yoga, Adi Yoga, Shubha Kartari Yoga. If these yogas are there and Jupiter is involved with them, then that is also an additional aspect that is there. You can study the dignity from the moon sign too. Actually, in order to truly be Satwik, you've got to understand moon and sun too. I didn't put any notes for it, but I just want to go over that a little bit. You see, moon is the mind. So our mind has to also be seeking the purity. And without the moon being in a steady, good place, we cannot enjoy other things in life. And therefore, a lot of yoga and spiritual work is all done to steady the moon and to work with the moon to find some remedies that help us to keep the moon steady. Now, moon is a Sattvic planet, but his behavior is very Rajasic. Why do I say that? Is because moon is always traveling, and every day moon is going to be in different signs. So, for example, today moon is in oh no, it's not in Cancer today. Today moon is with Jupiter, so that is nice. Actually, last night I was seeing that moon Jupiter were together. If you look up in the sky, Jupiter is shining really brightly. So we chose our program very well, Swamiji. So we have the moon Jupiter conjunction anywhere in the world. If you want to look up in the sky, you'll see moon Jupiter. Actually, Saturn is also there, but Saturn, yesterday when it was Guru Purnima, Saturn was very close to the moon, but Saturn is much dimmer. And Jupiter was dominating the energy yesterday as well because he's bright and look up. And Jupiter is also retrograde. So when Jupiter is retrograde, he shines doubly, stronger. But what will happen with moon is that moon tomorrow is still with Jupiter, but day after it will move on to a different sign and a different mode. It's now waxing, waning. So the thing is this, that in order to truly find the sattva for the moon, we have to regulate our life. We have to not all the time be changing. According to the stories about the moon has 28 wives, which are his nakshatras. And so he has different interest every day. The mind is very changeable. So we have to think about the routine, what time we get up, what time we eat our meals, how stress-free life we lead, and to have the mind in a state of sattva. As far as the sun is concerned, sun is very dignified and he does exactly the same thing every day. He has a sunrise, a midday, a sunset. He's not making many changes in his life. Also, when the sunlight shines, it shines brightly on everybody. He's not discriminating who I like, who I don't like. So in a way, the moon is the changeable one. So in order to understand the dignity of Jupiter, we have to also, or in for us to activate the dignity of Jupiter, we also have to consider our moons and our minds and our lifestyle choices. And some of them are just purely practical choices that we make in life, and how we manage our life. And that will have a big impact on the moon. And Satwik food, Satwik lifestyle, that all those things will help. So, if Jupiter is in dignity in your chart, it is easier to promote sattva and move it towards its purity. But I've just added one more thing, that you have to also watch out for how your mind is acting. You see, you may have the perfect Jupiter, but if your mind is confused and unstable and unsettled, and mind gets more and more unsettled when you keep on chopping and changing your lifestyle. So even I explain this to students in my class also, that they have to try to attend, if they are attending classes, they should try to attend them. If they are doing any course, not just mine, but other courses, try to do it to the end, because that commitment of the mind is very important to give you a calm mind as well. So Jupiter needs the moon, and but sometimes you have a good moon, therefore a good Jupiter in your chart. That means that you understand what to do. You have the wisdom that you want to sort this out. If Jupiter is in trouble in some ways, then you don't necessarily have the wisdom to sort things out. So what are the difficult Jupiters we are looking at? Debilitated Jupiter, enemy sign, in Dushtana, 6th, 8th, 12th house. Um, so debilitated Jupiter means he's weak, and you can say that his light has been hidden under a lot of dust of old karma. So what we have to do is we have to purify it through all the different aspects of yoga, karma yoga, mantra practice, all those things. Enemy sign is a position where Jupiter is just uncomfortable. He's not in the happiest place being. Uh, Jupiter debilitator also much more practical, so they will not be so motivated to do spiritual things. But it's not that they are unspiritual. It is just that their life at this stage is more to do with material things. And in Dushtana 6, 8, 12, Jupiter is uncomfortable. That means that he's not aspecting the ascendant. So sometimes you're not understanding what is his message. Jupiter with Saturn and Mars. So two tamasic planets, Jupiter it was debilitated. That means as a world, because this is not somebody's chart, it is a natal chart. As a world, we were stuck by this uncomfortable position. And then Rahu Ketu also were hemming in this situation. So a lot of people were also not willing to listen to good advice. And that is one of the things with Jupiter and Capricorn. Sometimes they think, I know better. So this was not a personal chart, it is a transit chart. So therefore, not listening to correct advice also can be a problem with Jupiter. So that is transit debilitation. Jupiter is going to go back to its debilitation sign from September to November again. So we have to know, as a kind of a global thing, that we have to be careful to listen to the right advice. And so sometimes, these things all join together. That means you have a debilitated Jupiter in a Dushtana house with malefic aspects, under malefic aspects as well, with malefic planets. That means then that your ability to rescue your Jupiter becomes harder. It's not impossible. One has to make the effort, because that is a condition at your birth time. So we have to work with it. Then another difficult position of Jupiter is if it is in the third house. Third house is a Marana Karaka Sthana. If Jupiter is in the third house, it goes in a death-like situation. Marana means death, Karaka is significant, and Sthana is place. Marana Karaka Sthana is is a death-like position of the planet. So when the planets are in these positions, they sort of are asleep to their possibilities, you know. So if you have Jupiter in the third house, normally you think, oh, it's give a lot of communication and action, but there's something that is like a sleep condition of Jupiter in the third house. Planets suffer in Marana Karaka Sthana, especially if we do not do anything about it. The point is this. What is the greatness of Jyotish is that it points you to things what you can sort out. It's not that you just leave it in that condition because a planet is in Marana Karaka Sthana. So these are the positions of Marana Karaka Sthana. If you have Sun in the 12th house, Moon in the 8th house, Mars, Mercury in the 7th, Jupiter in the 3rd, that is our talk today, Venus in the 6th, Saturn in the my laptop is moving too fast. Saturn in the 1st, or in Janma Nakshatra. Janma Nakshatra means that you have Saturn with Moon present. If they are in the same sign, same nakshatra, not the same sign, and Rahu in the 9th house. Mercury in the 4th, Ketu in the 4th, these are additional considerations of Marana Karaka Sthana. This is MKS. So MKS is, when you have a Jupiter in the 3rd house, then Jupiter, it's not, it's doing other things. It will give you, um, ideas, communication skills, writing skills, but something about its quality, and especially that aspiration for Sattva, it can also take you to a non-Satwik state. And then it can make you realize, so where did I take myself into? If you are on the awareness level, you can rise yourself. But the starting point of Jupiter, if you have it as a starting point, then it is a complex one. But there is light at the end. As I said, that these things are only starting points. So we have to think about it, what are we doing about the quality, and how are we dealing with that aspect of Jupiter in the 3rd house. Others also, but we are not discussing Marana Karaka Sthana today. So then other aspects of Jupiter, difficult Jupiter, is Guru Chandala Yoga and Sakata Yoga. I'll talk a little bit about yogas in a minute, but let us just look at a couple of charts here. So this is Swami Shivananda's chart. And one sec, I just want to see. So in the software, you have a thing called, I'm using Shri Jyoti Star. All softwares will have, it has a thing called Planet Dignity, planet's position and dignity table. So here in Swami Shivananda's chart, Jupiter is neutral in the Rashi chart. So what is happening right now, what you see here is that Swamiji, Swami Shivananda, he has, one sec, I'll just go here. So you get a bigger chart. He has Jupiter in the fourth house in Libra. It is neutral. But when you see the Swami's charts, usually they have something other than what their chart is, because especially Swami Shivananda, I always think of him. I never had the opportunity to meet him or a direct blessing from him, but I feel that being part of the Shivananda organization, I'm getting a blessing from him. So I think of him as Gunatita. So you're not going to be trying to analyze his gunas or whatever it is. But here we see that he has Jupiter in the fourth house, Kendra position. So I was saying that Kendra for Jupiter is good. It's in neutral, neither enemy nor friend. So he's in Libra, especially about, balancing the opposites, whether it's good or bad. And his Lagna Lord, he's Cancer Lagna. Lagna Lord Moon is in the 10th house and aspected by Jupiter. So you see that the two Satwik planets opposite each other. In his Lagna, Saturn, Mars, Rahu, all tamasic planets. So this state of Gunatita for Swamiji would not have been easy to reach. It was not that, but I would think that the aspiration was there. His sun is fine. It's in Leo, own sign, strong sun. But these three planets, the tamasic planets, always creating a struggle for him to overcome the situation. However, Moon is opposite Jupiter. So the Moon has got the quality of being calmed by Jupiter. And that, I would say, was one of a great quality there. This is Barack Obama's chart. And you can see he has a debilitated Jupiter and with Saturn. And but his cause of for debilitated Jupiter, he was a politician, and that was his role in life. So that was important to understand, that he was living, he had to have some skills to deal with tamas. If you are a politician, if you get too sattvic, then you're not able to work in that field. I hope or wish our politicians were sattvic, but he has a lot of sattvic energies here. He has sun in Cancer, and the Lord Moon is exalted. So there are a lot of sattvic qualities there, yet the world he was living in, and he had to have the skills of it. Difficult Jupiter and Sattva. If you have a difficult Jupiter in your chart, it does not mean that you're not sattvic. But you can doubt your ability to be sattvic, or you have to work doubly hard to protect your sattva, because little good qualities will always be there to somebody to doubt you about them, or they will be there that you are not getting helped by them at all. So I think that is important to see, that if you have these qualities, then so you can also look at Navamsha positions, as Navamsha is the Varga of Dharma and Jupiter is Dharma Karaka. Now, sometimes, Navamsha positions surprise you of people. In case of Barack Obama, his Jupiter goes into Pisces in the Navamsha, but it's in the 8th house. So 8th house is transformation, change. So Jupiter remains sattvic. It's just 8th house position can make him sometimes doubt himself, or it gets hidden behind, so it doesn't come front and center. Suppose this Jupiter was in the first house in the Navamsha, then the sattvic quality would be more easily pronounced there. But what I'm trying to say here is that for a politician like Barack Obama, pure sattva would not work for him, maybe if he had a lot of sattva, he wouldn't become a politician. One of the Ayurvedic teachers I had, or it was not actually, I was an Ayurvedic doctor. He said to me that Komilla ji, you are a spiritual teacher. For you, sattva is very important. But he said, if my clients who are um, real estate realtors or leading a normal life, for them sattva is no good, because then they will be always they have to have some kind of tamas. So he advised me many years ago to turn vegetarian, and I did. I wasn't, all my family is not vegetarian, I'm the only one. And he said, because for you to promote your sattva is very important. And and that kept in my mind always. And then when Swami Sita confirmed that sattvic quality has to be preserved. But for everybody, a person in a more materialistic lifestyle may not want a purely sattvic quality. So as I said, this is a part of the how the mind is thinking. Now in Swami Shivananda's chart, he was thinking sattva from a very young age. However, when you look at his Navamsha, you see Jupiter is in Capricorn. So that did not make him less sattvic. It made him even more sattvic, I would say. So the Capricorn, maybe that was his whole life's work of serve and give and, be duty bound by sattva. So you have to look at the Navamsha as well to see if the dignity is there. But as I said, that uh, difficult Jupiter does not make you less sattvic. I find sometimes new students, now I've got conscious and I make this point, but sometimes new students, they look at their chart and they think, oh, I've got Jupiter debilitator, I'm not sattvic. That is not true. It is, but you have to be working doubly hard to work with it and deal with it. Then some scholars believe that Jupiter in the fifth house suffers from Karaka Bhavo Nasha. If it is exalted, it is even worse. So the rule is that Karaka planet in the house spoils its impact. This does not always work in practice. Be careful when applying this concept. And nowadays, there's a lot of information available, and we should be careful about that, that it doesn't. In fact, they say that if you have Jupiter in the fifth house exalted, it is not going to give you children, because the karaka of children gets disturbed. However, my mother has this in her chart, and she has two children, and both of them even care for her a lot, and are I can say both of my brother and myself, we are pretty good children. So I never took this seriously. However, if you do have Jupiter in the fifth house and you are having a difficult transit to the fifth house, that means that if you have exalted Jupiter, that means when Saturn goes into Cancer and Rahu or Mars or anything difficult goes into Cancer, everything gets affected. The fifth house, the karak of the fifth house as well. So I think that is why this concept came. And what happens is that a lot of concepts are there, and people are not necessarily talking about, they're not necessarily examining the concepts. They're just taking it as read, somebody has written, and then they copy and paste or talk again. So therefore, they have not really thought over the process. So it is important when you read something very difficult, then you have to think about it as well. So there is another question here. Roxanne has asked, how does 75% aspects to Lagna on Shivananda chart? How do you get 75% aspect to Lagna? That's a very good question. What it is that when planets are squaring each other, so those of you who have done Western astrology, in Vedic, if they are Kendra from each other, there's a 75% aspect. So here Jupiter is aspecting Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer. So that is regarded as a 75% aspect. 100% aspect of Jupiter will be on the 5th house, from Jupiter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7th house on the moon, and 9th house. So in Swami Shivananda's chart, his moon is in a moksha bhava. Sorry, Jupiter is in moksha bhava, which is the desire for self-realization, and Jupiter's aspecting 8th and 12th and 10th. So the other two moksha bhavas and the 10th house as well. So Jupiter Karakas are husbands, sons, knowledge, philosophy, religion, gurus, teachers. The strength of Jupiter's examined through Shadbal, Vimshopak, Visheshikamsha, Ashtaka Varga, Bhinna Ashtaka Varga. These are too many things to consider just now. But if you have studied them, then you have to look at all the different strands to decide. Not just Jupiter's exalted, debilitated. You have to look at the different strands to decide what is the true quality of Jupiter. So Jupiter can be strong yet badly placed or negative planet for your lagna. Then you need to check its position from the moon, sun, even dasha lord. Because sometimes, what happens is that your dasha is such, Jupiter is very well placed from the dasha. So suddenly all its qualities come alive. For example, I will give you my own example. My Jupiter is in Marana Karakasthana. So it's in the 3rd house, which is the worst position you can get Jupiter. So during Jupiter Dasha, it gave me no really positive Satwik results. But when I went to Saturn Dasha, Jupiter went into the 9th from Saturn. So all my Sattva and my desire for it, 19 years of Saturn Dasha, and even now in my present Dasha, it's well placed. So the whole thing woke up. It was the same Jupiter, but the point of view was not the correct point of view. So you see, sometimes you have to look at Jupiter's position from the Dasha Lord as well, because that is what you're experiencing right now. So what is Jupiter activating? So for example, if we look at Vimshatari Dasha for Barack Obama. He's in Saturn Dasha just now. So Jupiter is very much center stage for him because it's in the 1st house. Maybe that Dasha has been on for some time. This is very important. Before that, he was in Mars Dasha. So from Mars, not Saturn, Jupiter Dasha. So Jupiter is also in the lagna only. So he's had these 2 dashas where everything is in the 1st house and in the ascendant. So it is about himself and what he wants to do, and maybe his at least for his supporters, his aims always had a lot of sattvic quality in them. The influence of Jupiter. But as I said, you have to remember that he's a politician. So that is always there to look at. What are the Jupiter strengths and weaknesses? You see Jupiter in Sagittarius, Pisces, that is excellent, exalted in Cancer, debilitated in Capricorn, Mool Trikona in Sagittarius, that is good. Friends are Aries, Leo, Scorpio. Average is Aquarius. Enemies Taurus, Libra, Gemini, Virgo. In Swami Shivananda's chart, his Jupiter's in Libra, but because of how it is placed from the ascendant, it became neutral. Although traditionally Jupiter in Libra would be an enemy sign, but there are some calculations that are done and it becomes neutral for Swamiji. But you can say that it was not the most comfortable position for him. And to me, I feel that life is all about going beyond your difficulties, not to just always complain about your difficulties. And also to have some wisdom that, okay, it'll take time. We can't just immediately uh, have a problem. Jupiter's aspects, if Jupiter's aspecting any area of your life, that is very good. That area gets energized. Uh, Jupiter is not well placed in the third house, which is Marana Karaka Sthana. So as I have Jupiter in Marana Karaka Sthana, I think I've developed a lot beyond that original Jupiter that I had. But there was something, I was always seeking that quality. So I would say there was something beyond that position that was making me seek something more. But it was only when the dasha came right that that was available to me. It is strong in kendras, uh, fourth, 1, 4, 7, 10, or in 1, 5, and 9. Influence of malefics, including Gulika Mandi. We are not studying Gulika Mandi. Gulika Mandi are difficult energies. They are sons of Saturn. If you have that influence, it's not well placed with Venus. And if you have, I've got a separate page for it. If you have Jupiter Ketu in D1, D9, or D60, it shows past life study of Jyotish yoga spirituality. So a Jupiter Ketu conjunction, it's not so good for material things, but Jupiter Ketu can be very good for spiritual things. So if you are looking at a spiritual life, I'm thinking of uh, any spiritual teacher who has it. I don't remember offhand. But in your own chart, if you have a Jupiter Ketu, either in conjunction or in aspect as well, Jupiter Ketu in aspect, then they can be, but they have to have a mutual aspect that can show. Jupiter Ketu will cause problems with wanting to have children, marriage, but it will be very good for spiritual life and shows some past life study and knowledge of Jyotish. And let me see in Swamiji's chart, Swami. Uh, Swami Shivananda has Saturn Ketu combination, not Jupiter Ketu, but maybe Saturn Ketu also brings some karmic knowledge. But as I said, when I'm looking at spiritual teachers, I'm not always looking at, I look at their chart in a different way because I feel that they have always developed something beyond. So these are the positive yogas. If Jupiter and Moon, so as I told you, that this aspect of Moon and Jupiter is very important as a judgment of Sattva as well. Jupiter, Moon in first, fourth, seventh, 10th house from each other. This is creates a Gaja Kesari Yoga. Gaja means elephant, Kesari means a lion. It shows large, fierce intellect. Gaja Kesari Yoga makes you wise, attractive, virtuous, skillful, wealthy, and learned. So virtue is also connected to Sattva. It helps you to develop your latent faculties, protects you from negative forces. So here we have the best chart for Gaja Kesari Yoga. So this is Swami Shivananda's chart. You can see Jupiter, Moon opposite each other. He used to say, I roll like a lion. So he has this yoga as well. And the second advantage is that it is his Lagna Lord Moon that has gone into Gaja Kesari Yoga. the third advantage of this Gaja Kesari Yoga is that these three malefic planets that are very tough to handle normally are uh, it's its Lord Moon is in Gaja Kesari Yoga. So this virtue and knowledge and wisdom, this is what is there. Sometimes one can get too focused on the three malefics in the Lagna, but what is their ruler doing? It's like mm, you're holding on to a large and ferocious lion, but if you're a lion tamer, you know what to do with it, how to deal with it. Or if you have a snake and you're a snake charmer, you know what to do with it. It's not something. So in his case, this moon Gaja Kesri Yoga is very key, important aspect of Swamiji's chart. Then Hamsa Yoga, Jupiter in its own exalted signs in Kendra. So this is Jupiter, Sagittarius, Pisces, Cancer. Hamsa means a swan, a person free from malice and pure. Hamsa is a vehicle of Brahma, has special power to be able to separate milk from water. Both are auspicious, but if mixed together, water dilutes the milk, makes it impure. Hamsa Yoga are able to find purity and remove impurities. But you see, a majority of the people by nature are only interested in material things. So therefore, you can't say that a person with Hamsa Yoga will automatically be spiritual. You have to understand that. Sometimes my experience is that more difficult aspects uh, are the ones that encourage us to look beyond, easy things means we have this quality and we are not taking effect. So this is a Bollywood actor called Amitabh Bachchan, and he has Hamsa Yoga from the moon. He has both Gaja Kesari and Hamsa Yoga. And the South Indian chart works automatically, but in the North Indian chart, you can see here that Moon and Jupiter. So uh, now he did have Jupiter exalted. Jupiter is also Vargotama. So he has these two yogas, Hamsa Yoga from the moon, and he has the Gaja Kesari Yoga as well. In Swami Shivananda's chart, there is only Gaja Kesari Yoga. There is no Hamsa Yoga because Jupiter is not in any of its signs of uh, exaltation or own sign. But Amitabh Bachchan, he has had a very privileged, successful life, and he's been at the top of his career since I would say 70s, 70, 80, 90, 10s, 20s, now. So he's almost 60 years at the top of his career. But is he Satwik? I don't know, this is difficult to say. Maybe I think he's definitely in his personal life, he has um, some purity. But what you see here is that he has Ketu in the Lagna, Rahu Ketu access. So Rahu Ketu are blockers of not allowing you. Ketu can make you very spiritual, but again, Amitabh was seeking fame and fortune in Bollywood. So you have to think that that's not a place that encourages sattva. Some environments just don't encourage sattva. So you have to think about that as well. And maybe if he was totally sattvic, that he would become dysfunctional. So thinking about these things, about according to profession and life choices you make, this is also an important element to consider as an astrologer, even as a yogi. Mm. So Roxanne has asked, what if Jupiter is Badhakesh, Ashtamamsha, yogi planet, uh, Mool Trikona and D1 exalted in Navamsha? Uh, I would say that if a planet is strong, as I answered to Athya as well, that if it is strong in your chart, but he is in these difficult positions, that means that there's always some obstacle to find that sattva. It's not that the sattva is not existing, but there's always obstacles there because these are obstacle positions. And the main mistake you can do is not doing anything about it, to say, oh, this is all obstructed, so nothing will happen. These are not situations that they test you, but the inherent quality is there. So I think that is what is important to understand. So so then we come to this other yoga, Adi Yoga. Adi means chief, supreme, presiding, ruling. When benefic planets, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, are placed in 6th, 7th, 8th from the moon or lagna, Adi Yoga is formed. This yoga's importance is again in support of the moon. Planets placed here would aspect the houses either side of the moon, enhancing the mind, or they are helping the lagna because they are 6th, 7th, 8th from the lagna. So this is the chart of a Bollywood musician and actor and singer, and he has a Adi Yoga. So Kishore Kumar, if you Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, do Google him, you'll find a lot of information. Uh, he has Jupiter in the 6th house, Venus in the 7th, and Mercury in the 8th. Now, this is a place which I was telling you that, see, you think I have Jupiter in the 6th house. That is not good. However, when these benefics go in a string, it becomes very powerful. But he has some problems as well here. And so, as a singer, songwriter, actor, musician, he was at the top of his game on each of the things, very successful, but very dysfunctional, crazy, I would say. He had a lot of stories about him of dysfunction. But you see, there are a couple of problems here for him. One is that Saturn is in his ascendant, and Saturn is Marana Karaka Sthana in the 1st house and is blocking the Satwik flow. That is Tamasic planet. And he was again in Bollywood, so that means the circumstances were not ideal to be Satwik. And then his moon was in the 8th house, and it's a dark moon, and it's with just before a new moon, and 8th house is Marana Sthana for him as well. So these two planets without what happens is when you're studying Jyotish, you can see these problems and you can say, oh, this is something I can work with. But when you don't know, then you're struggling blind, trying to understand what is it that is causing the problems. So here you see that these things, Shani, one could have done some remedy for it, and in a more sattvic way. What happens is sometimes even the advisors are only on a looking at the chart from a tamasic point of view. So as you read the quality, you want to uplift the person and override them. So this yoga brought the success, but not necessarily the sattvic element there. Then we have, these are all support yogas, and they all help, created by Jupiter, can be created by Jupiter. Benefic in the 12th from the moon, it shows princely appearance, strong personality, good mind. Anafa indicates success, but also giving up material aspect at a later date. So if you have moon in the 12th from the Jupiter in the 12th from the moon, Venus and Mercury also, but we are looking at then Sunafa Yoga, when benefic planets are placed 2nd from the moon. This indicates material success, fame, contentment, happiness. You see, contentment can also be sattvic contentment. When you are content, then you rise above things. When you are struggling, then it sort of takes you down. Durudura Yoga is formed when benefic planets are placed either side of the moon or in adjoining houses, second, 12th from the moon. This person gives success, eminence, immense wealth, popularity. Then we have Vasi Yoga. These are the same yogas. Benefics in the 12th from Sun is Vasi Yoga, makes a person eloquent, powerful, physically strong, charitable. Vasi Yoga is when benefics are second from the Sun. This yoga makes a person truthful, kind, fair, eloquent, wealthy. And this is the chart of Deepak Chopra. And you see in his chart, from his moon, Jupiter is in the second house. So that is creating that uh, positive Sunafa yoga for Deepak Chopra. He also has Jupiter influencing his sun, because Jupiter Sun are in a tight conjunction. And then from the sun, Venus is in the second house. So these are all situations that can promote um, spiritualism for him. And moon in the 8th house, this is a Marana Karaka Sthana for the moon. So moon can be, needs help, but Deepak Chopra has did a lot of spiritual things. Then Abhayachari Yoga is when benefics other than the moon are present in the second 12th from the sun. So again, is Jupiter will be if is one of the benefics, and this is John Lennon's chart. And now John Lennon, I feel that his big struggle was to seek sattva. I feel, but he was seeking it in all the wrong ways, let's say, because he had a very complex chart. And so what you see here is that he has Jupiter, Pisces Lagna, which is very Satwik, and his Lagna Lord Jupiter and Saturn in the same degree. So they are in a planetary war. So that is a war between Sattva and Tamas, you could say. That was his kind of inner conditioning to him. Pisces is very Satwik as a sign. And then his moon is in Capricorn, and moon Lord Saturn is also in a war. So the two identification points were in a war. However, you see here the sun is surrounded by benefics either side. So this is called a Ubhayachari Yoga. And this also helped Rahu and Mars. But, his life was very conflicted because Mars and Jupiter and Saturn are conflicted in his, but that conflict brought writing and music of a different kind. Sometimes, when you're conflicted and you're an artist, or even if you're a spiritual person, you are going to develop from that conflict. As I said, that it is not just what the conflict is, but you can develop from it. Here, I just did a chart from the sun's point of view. You can see the two benefics are there. But this is not Jupiter. So this is creating more of a rajasic quality, of the personality. And then we have Virinchi Yoga. And Virinchi Yoga is connected to Brahma. And fifth Lord Jupiter, Saturn in friend, own, or exalted sign in Kendra or Trikona. This is will be extremely intelligent, fully absorbed in knowledge of Brahman. He will never deviate from code of conduct described by Vedas. He'll be full of good qualities, always be happy, and will have many distinguished disciples. Now, the thing is this, that this Virinchi Yoga talks about a person who can be Gunatita. But the other planets can come in the way and take that away. So we have Condoleezza Rice, who had a lot of success but a lot of compromise as well. So what you see is that fifth lord, the rule is fifth lord Jupiter, Saturn in friend, own or exalted sign. Condoleezza Rice born in 54 when Jupiter was exalted and Saturn was exalted as well. So she has both Jupiter, Saturn exalted, but fifth lord, uh, Venus, is in its own sign, but it is also combust, so close to the sun, so that and the sun is debilitated. So somewhere along the line, Condoleezza Rice may have compromised her ideals and sattva uh, for politics, we could say that. And also, she has a lot of disciples. I think she's teaching in Stanford just now. So there is no lack of disciples there for her. And then Saraswati Yoga, this is, I think, the last of the yogas. Venus, Jupiter, Mercury in Kendra, Trikona from the Lagna or in the second house. Jupiter in its own exalted friend sign. Saraswati Yoga Saraswati is the goddess of learning, knowledge, arts, and music. So what you see with Saraswati Yoga is that sometimes people are more into arts and music than they are into uh, learning and knowledge from. Either or can be possible. Saraswati Yoga gives great intelligence, ability to write, learned in Alankar Shastra. Alankar means music and poetry and mathematics, knowledge of sacred text, honored, famous in all the three worlds, wealthy, blessed with children, lucky. So I have a chart here of Dustin Hoffman. He has, you can see Jupiter's in the first house. So he has Digbala Jupiter, and Venus is also there, but a very good Jupiter in his chart, but it's retrograde. You see, what I want you to see is sometimes, a lot of times people think that just because Jupiter is strong, I'm very Satwik, and just because before Jupiter is weak, I'm very negative. It's not true. It's also the other subtleties in the chart as well. And in uh, Dustin Hoffman's case, he has Venus, Jupiter in Kendras, Mercury in the fifth house. So he has this Saraswati Yoga. But you could say that his kind of purity in his acting, that was his aim. Or in Barack Obama, purity in politics. So you have to think about the world they are living in. And and definitely Dustin Hoffman, very well known for being a great actor, great artist. So the Saraswati Yoga can also give the art quality as well. And he has the Hamsa Mahapurusha Yoga as well, Jupiter in its own sign in the Lagna. He has number of yogas, but that he's not recognized as a Satwik personality. I don't know anything about him, but I would say that definitely in his craft, he would have been a purist. So he was seeking the purity of his craft, but maybe sometimes he may not have the same quality in his other life. And then Gauri Yoga, these are all connected to Jupiter. Moon in its own sign, exaltation either in Kendra, Trikona, and Jupiter aspects it. This Gauri Yoga is very rare to find in people. Gauri gives beautiful body, face like a lotus, friends with kings. They'll succeed over enemies, rivals, competition. Good character, blessed with children, belong to an illustrious life. So good character, whenever the ancient books say, that means they are Satwik by nature. They have a good character. And this is again Barack Obama. The rule here is moon in its own or exaltation, Kendra, Trikona, and Jupiter aspects it. So we can see that Barack Obama has an exalted moon and Jupiter aspects it with its fifth drishti. And again, I would say for him also in his politics, whatever that is, he was trying to be a Puritan there, that Sattvic quality in his particular profession. And then this is a question to Anthea, which was about Jupiter moon in difficult positions to each other. So there are two yogas that create a unsettled energy for Jupiter. And this is Sakata Yoga and Guru Chandala Yoga. And Sakata Yoga is when you have moon Jupiter in 6th, 8th, and 12th house from each other. Sakata means difficult, negative, poor. This is a difficult yoga to have. It indicates the placement of Jupiter in Dushtana from the moon and obstructs the free flow of fortune. And what happens is that this brings sudden changes in life. If Jupiter's in the sixth from the moon, it's unexpected blocks that come. So even if you're working on your sattva and developing yourself, there'll be sudden block. That means you have to rethink your strategy. Very much just now with what has happened to all of us in COVID, that there's sudden block. I mean, the world went through it. You can't say it is in one person's chart. And then Guru Chandala Yoga, Rahu conjunct Jupiter. Rahu Ketu are regarded as Chandalas or outcasts. Jupiter Guru aspires towards high philosophy, religion, ethics. Jupiter is the priest, spiritual advisor. Its connection to Rahu changes its quality. This was considered very negative in ancient, most traditional times. So what it is that Rahu, Rahu is totally tamasic planet, and conjoined with, he misleads Jupiter. Jupiter may calm Rahu down, but Rahu is the misleader in chief, you could say. He is the disruptor in chief. So when you have Rahu, however, nowadays when people are interested in other religions, will go for teachers who are not from their own caste or society. Guru Chandala Yoga suggests interest in foreign religions and ideas. What happens is that when you have Jupiter Rahu conjunction, you're not interested in your own traditions. Now, for a traditional society where everything was fixed, it was very difficult. But in America of 21st century, it's okay. It's mostly Europe also, everywhere people are seeking teachers from different backgrounds. They're interested. You're all here today studying Jyotish and yoga practitioners as well. On the negative side, you can meet corrupt gurus or get conned by gurus or teachers who are not on the correct path. Use the knowledge in a corrupt way. Politicians can have this yoga, misuse of high religious principles, fundamentalism. Very often you see politicians trying to take out the religious card or spiritual card, but they're not really being spiritual about it. So also negatively, lack of trust of advisor, propensity to take wrong advice. So when you have Guru Chandala Yoga, it is very important to do something for Jupiter to enhance it, but also to calm Rahu down. So this is a politician from UK. He was the former British Prime Minister, Gordon Brown. You see, his Lagna Lord is Jupiter with Rahu. And he was famous in UK with the first person who used spin doctors. They were spinning the news. And so he was very successful. But this Guru Chandala, obviously, as a politician, people were always doubting his news and what he was doing. And I don't know his spiritual inclination, more politics. His inclination was 100% politics. He devoted his life to politics. So that may be also something with the Guru Chandala Yoga. Now, Jupiter Ketu Yoga. Jupiter Ketu not good together. It will cause problems to the signification of Jupiter. I talked about it earlier as well. Jupiter can show past life knowledge connection to, say, Gemini if they aspect or conjoin in Rashi, Nabamsha, which is D9 chart, and Shashtiyamsha. Actually, any Ketu conjunction, you may have Ketu with Mercury, Ketu with in Swami Shivananda's case, we saw Ketu with Saturn in the D60 chart. So it shows some past karmic knowledge that you have. And Ketu will not give you the knowledge all the time. It will suddenly open and give information. So that Jupiter Ketu is very important aspect. And then the Sakata Yoga, which is to do with Jupiter, also means a wheel. Sakata Yoga makes a person revolve around the wheel of life. The wheels rotate, so can life. There can be ups and downs with sudden endings to be faced. Sakata Yoga usually leads to a person having to start all over again at various stages of life. So this is also Deepak Chopra's chart. You see that from Jupiter, Moon is 12th from Jupiter and Jupiter is second. Now, Deepak Chopra, he started his life in Delhi, then he came to USA, became a doctor, then he gave up his doctor, became a guru, moved to LA, then he's given up LA, he's moved to New York. So you see there's number of times there's a change. Is that negative or positive? It's really up to you. Sometimes people get very bothered by change. But normally with Sakata Yoga, the suddenly things change. That is the whole aspect of Sakata Yoga. So any questions so far? Because we are coming towards the end of the class. I want to talk a little bit about remedies and things. Okay. So maintaining the purity of Jupiter. Jupiter is a Satwik planet. Sattva and purity have to be maintained and can also be developed. This is the key for an astrologer as they advise others to develop their sattva. So I just realized the English needs improvement here. So as an astrologer or as any kind of teacher, spiritual teacher, I'm saying, we are always aiming for people to improve their sattva and to find this light and to raise their consciousness, raise themselves. So how can you maintain the purity of Jupiter? Through ethical behavior, promoting dharma, following the path of yoga, tapas is remedies where you do some hard graft to sort out your life. Mantras, puja, and pilgrimage. You see, ethical behavior means that every day you sometimes it's not every day, but at important points of your life, some ethical questions rise in your life. And that is where, you have to try to do the best possible, but you can also think it over, not just instantly do what is wrong. And certainly for me, when I was going to become a full-time astrologer, I thought about the ethics of how I'm going to advise people, and keeping that very clear in my mind that this is what I'm doing, and this is what, because it is spiritual science. So even as I teach and everything, I never give, from my point of view, a wrong advice just because it suits me or suits the other people. So you have to think about ethics in your work, in your other things. But think and act and take time over making decisions. Don't be in a rush for it. Following a path of yoga is very important to maintain sattva. I think that is the key thing. It's not just practicing a few asanas, And these are the Shivananda's 5 points for Satwik life. Right exercise, that is yoga asana, right breathing, pranayama, relaxation. It could be sattva, it could be meditation, proper diet, Ayurveda, vegetarian, positive thinking and meditation. These are the starting points of things that you have to do. But also, discipline, ethics, all those things that come in the 8 points of Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga. So you have to look beyond just doing the yoga asanas. You have to think, and all this actually is helping your Jupiter. It's helping your moon. You see, we are not thinking that this is helping, and we think, oh, they're two diverse things and they're not helping, but actually they are both helping each other. And Sage Parashar gives many remedies to elevate the impact of planets in the final chapters of Brihat Parashar Hora Shastra. So he says that planets should be worshipped with dhanya, 9 grains. So Jupiter's grain is chickpea, which is garbanzo beans. When you go to any of the Jupiter temples, actually mostly in India, the Dakshina Murti temples are regarded, South India, as Jupiter. You always take a necklace of garbanzo beans. I don't know how they make it, or you make an offering of garbanzo beans. And you can also make a donation of garbanzo beans. Like when sometimes I see Safeways asking for food and you want to do a Jupiter remedy, you can buy garbanzo beans and make a donation, or you can make a donation to the ashram for food, or temples also take these donations. Jupiter's clothes are charity donations is silk. In India, they had this system of always giving you Jupiter gifts. So in a wedding, when people were always like a thank you gift you give, they would always give silk as a gift, silk cloth, a scarf or a sari or something like that. Because that was belonging to Jupiter, and they would give gold. Nowadays, gold has got ridiculous price, but they would, as children and even up to much later age, I have a number of gifts from people's weddings that were gold earrings or gold bangle. So you'd get a silk cloth and a gold bangle, and people didn't know they were gifting you Jupiter, but it is. But even like donation, you want to make a donation, you can do that. The color is yellow. You can see I'm wearing yellow today in honor of Jupiter. And the gemstone of Jupiter is Pukhraj, yellow sapphire, and the metal is gold. So the yellow sapphire, I don't know whether you can see, I'm wearing yellow sapphire. Wearing yellow sapphire or topaz for Jupiter, color gold bang, gold, there's all enhancing the Jupiter quality in you. It is all pure metals. You have pure gold and Pukhraj. It also depends on affordability. If you're on a Satwik pure path, you may not consider these things. But at the time I bought the ring, it was 1979. So I was not purely on a Satwik path at that time. So they don't necessarily, but most of us are living in both worlds. We are not fully going towards pure Gunatita lifestyle. So that other things also intrude. Then planetary mantras, Rig Veda mantras to be recited. We need proper training to do them. Meantime, you can do full mantra practice. I've been detailing in classics, and do japa for bija mantras. To clients, you can give nama mantras as well. So I think for the ashram, Swami Shivananda has been doing the mantra classes. So you can do those when he does. He's been doing online. Pandit Samavedula. I don't know whether I said Swami Shivananda. Pandit Samavedula has been doing, but you can do simple mantras because, most of us are not masters at mantra, but you're purifying your planet through that mantra. So Parashara gives a number of bija seed mantras for Jupiter to be 19,000. And another technique is to chant 1,000 times their dasha years, 16,000 seed mantra. Bija means seed mantra. So this is the seed mantra for Brihaspati or Jupiter. Om Gram Grim Gram Sa Brihaspataye Namaha. Om Gram Grim Gram Sa Brihaspataye Namaha. Om Gram Grim Gram Sa Brihaspataye Namaha. So this mantra is recited 16,000 times, puja performed with yellow flowers. Begin recitation on Thursday. Thursday belongs to Jupiter during the bright half of the moon. The thing is to do 16,000 is quite a lot. You can start by trying to do these mantras 108 times. And then do it every Thursday, then you can develop to do the bija practice. When you're doing the bija practice, you've got to do, you start on a Thursday, but then you continue doing the same number of mantras till you finish. So if you start with 200, then you continue doing 200 till you have finished 16,000. And it has to be every day the same amount of mantras. Then the Nama mantra, that is a simple mantra. This is easy. You can share with people. Bija mantra, you should not share easily with people. But Nama mantra, this is okay if somebody wants a Jupiter mantra. So you can do these. Om Guruve Namaha. Om Brihaspataye Namaha. So these are just simple mantras. They are not mantras with the secret bijas or secrets. So that is why you don't give a bija mantra just to anybody. And then the Jupiter Purana mantra I chanted earlier in the class today. Om Devanam Cha Rishinam Cha Gurum Kanchan Sannibham Buddhibhutam Trilokesham Tam Namami Brihaspatim. So this mantra you would do for early, for Thursdays you want to do, or if you are doing Bija mantra, you sort of start the mantra with these practices. But normally this would be chanted on Thursday. Or like today I'm doing the class for Jupiter, so I'm uh, kind of uplifting it. And then there are Gayatri mantras for Jupiter as well. Om Surya Acharyaya Vidmahe Deva Pujaya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayat. So this mantra is saying that Surya Acharya, so he's the guru of Surya, the sun, and the devas, the gods, worship him. So Guru, I pray to you. Om Surya Acharyaya Vidmahe Deva Pujaya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayat. And then the second mantra, Om Vrishabhadvajaya Vidmahe Kruni Hastaya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayat.